Hello and welcome to the Diamond Report for Tuesday, May 30th, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. It is currently 11:33 p.m. Can't believe this month is almost over already, and we're only a month away from the year being half over. It's crazy. 2017 is flying by. Alright, we're looking at the last 24 hours worth of earthquakes globally, worldwide. This is on Earthquake 3D software, which you can get online for either free or you can get the paid version for like 20 bucks. It's very reasonably priced. I would recommend it if you're interested in earthquakes at all. I use it every night on my Diamond Report, and we're looking at the last 24 hours primarily because it seems to me like there were a lot of quakes in the last 24 hours, maybe a few more than normal, but the main thing I wanted to show you was that we had a super deep magnitude 3.7, which is a small quake, but very deep, 568 kilometer depth. Now that will translate into larger, shallower movement, but you're still only talking about adding on a magnitude or two above this 3.7, so 4.7 to 5.7 in a silent zone in an adjacent area. So not a very big quake that we're talking about that will happen over the next 7 days or so, but I just want to show you that because it's so deep. Look at how much, I mean, the further off the planet it is here, you can tell how deep it is, and that one really stands out. We also have a really large swarm of magnitude 2s and 3s in western Turkey. You can see that swarm right there. Just barely in Turkey, but it's definitely still Turkey. And then we've got a small swarm in Italy, more 2s, and you can see the progression of earthquakes from the Middle East across Europe. It's pretty easy to see that. Now that is all normal movement as far as the pressure from one place to another in different parts of the globe. I've mentioned this several days in a row. You get movement in Europe from the Middle East, and the movement in the Middle East comes from Asia, which comes from the Indonesian area, and then of course Philippines and the Western Pacific. It's all tied together as far as the pressure movement from one place to another. It kind of sticks to the same pathways of movement, and makes it relatively easy to predict where movements are going to occur because they always more or less occur along the same lines. So when you get something out of the ordinary that's not on the normal lines of progression, then you, at least my first thought is, well, it's probably man-made, if that's the case. We do have another really deep 5.3 magnitude quake out here in the area of Solomon Islands in the West Pacific, and if we go back to the last 48 hours, which is typically what I look at in order to forecast earthquakes, the last 48 hours, you can see a really large silent zone right here. Papua New Guinea is in the middle of the silent zone, and I say the middle because you're looking at the fulcrum point, the middle point between these two last earthquakes over the last 48 hours. So you've got a series of quakes over here and a series of quakes over here in Solomon Islands. And that means that there will be movement here in the center. And you can pretty much guess that based on the ones on either side of it, it's going to be pretty close to that same size. These are basically magnitude 5s. And then over here on this side, we've got that earthquake that I mentioned last night, magnitude 6.7. Double check that. There we go. 6.8. So we have a 6.8 on one side and a 5.0 on the other side. You add those together, you're going to get about a 6.9 to 7.0 that would be expected here in the middle point, which would be eastern Papua New Guinea. There's a volcano right around there as well. So that could dampen the effects of any large earthquake if that volcano is erupting currently, and I haven't checked to see if it is. But anyway, you can see the large silent zone here in the middle. I just wanted to show you that mostly. And we do have one magnitude 5.4 earthquake here near Guatemala. It's actually in the ocean. It's not on land. But that's the largest one that has occurred in our neck of the woods in the last 48 hours. You can see a little bit of movement here in the United States as well. Also 2s and 3s primarily. Nothing real huge. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the headlines. I know there's a lot of them today, so let's go ahead and go do that. Crazy Maxine Waters clashes with Constituent. Quote, "You can't impeach a member of Congress. Your president is a dishonorable lying man," she said. It's on the American Mirror. I guess she's forgotten about Bill Clinton and how he was a dishonorable lying man. Oh yeah, she supported him completely. Well, that's true. You can't impeach a member of Congress, but you can expel a member of Congress. I suggest we begin that process right away for Crazy Maxine. From Michael Snyder of Into the American Dream, it's time to flush the toilet. Is it fair to compare Congress to a toilet? Well, it's not very fair to the toilet, but I do get the word picture. To me, Washington, D.C. would be the toilet, and everyone in Washington, D.C. would be the things you would find floating in the toilet. And then, of course, the swamp is the urine and other specimens that are supporting the things floating in the toilet, which, of course, represents Washington, D.C. So actually, it's a really good word picture, in my opinion. Shock, Texas Democrat representative threatens to kill Republican on legislative floor. Things have now taken a drastic turn. I would say so. That's on shtfplan.com. Australia plans to revoke convicted pedophiles' passports to prevent child sex tourism. Many Aussies want strongest crackdown taken even further. That's on RT. 5-foot spikes topped with pig parts left at proposed mosque site. A pig's head, feet, and innards were left on 5-foot-tall spikes at the site of a proposed mosque in the German city of Erfurt. That's on Breitbart. Leading Muslim group calls for Ramadan jihad alongside Trump, Farage, and May headshots. The best jihad is the word of justice in front of the oppressive ruler, it says. That's on Breitbart. Pope says Copts, meaning Coptic Christians, were killed after refusing to renounce their Christian faith. The number of dead, who included children, makes one of the deadliest single attacks against members of Egypt's beleaguered Coptic minority in decades. That's on CNS News. I'm sure the Pope probably thought the Coptic Christians were wrong by refusing to renounce their faith, because my guess is if the Pope was put on the spot, he would renounce his faith in an absolute blink of an eye, instant. Bernie Sanders supporters are sad because they can't win any elections. Democrat Party implosion continues to get worse. That's on the Daily Caller. Trump communication director resigns as larger personnel shakeup looms. That's on Politico. From Jerome Corsi, Seth Rich mystery. DNC leaks came from the inside, not Russian hackers. Michael Savage says let counterterrorism antioxidants do their job. It's on WND. Sweden, 3 out of 4 child refugees are actually adults. New study reveals shocking reality behind asylum seekers. Yeah, they're all in their 20s. Alex Jones, why won't Ariana Grande denounce radical Islam? Pop singer once wished her fans would effing die, according to media. And it's not looking too good for old Ariana. She better come out and denounce radical Islam, which, of course, as we know, isn't really radical. It's just Islam being Islam. It seems radical to us. That's why we've given it that moniker. But actually, Islam is meant to be radical. I mean, if you're doing Islam right, it is radical. If you're a peaceful Muslim, you're not doing Islam as Muhammad intended. You just aren't. Trump advisor says media is running permanent obstruction campaign. Researchers test self-destructing moth pest in cabbage patch, genetically engineered to die before they can reproduce. You suppose they have those sort of plans for the human population? Genetically engineered to die before we can reproduce? Seems like that's already underway, if you ask me. University of California to end lavish spending on dinners. Napolitano's office reimbursed regents for more than $225,000 in dinner parties since 2012. Flashback, Libs will deport a little boy at gunpoint but won't stop Islamic invaders. Manuel Noriega dead. Panama's former strongman dies in hospital at age 83. Worked with the CIA while murdering political opponents. Yes, he did. That's on the Telegraph. Sununu confronts CNN on coverage of Trump-Russia investigation. How much crow are you going to eat? Former governor pushes back against CNN's coverage of the investigation. That's on Breitbart. Report, Pope partly responsible for Islamic mass murder of Christians. The Pope needs to condemn radical Islam, which of course he won't do, because not too long ago he was kissing their feet. Literally. Trump responds to Merkel, our trade very bad. Will change. Those sort of quotes sound like Tarzan or something. Me Tarzan, you Jane. Rhetoric between nationalist Trump and globalist Merkel heats up. Humans may live to 120 years old in just 60 years' time. That is complete BS. There is no way that's going to happen. Our lifespans are shortening with all the poisoning that we're all enduring, from the air to the water to the food. Are you kidding me? 120? We'd be lucky to make half that, probably, most people. Research reveals it's possible to slow down our biological aging process. It's on the Daily Mail. I don't buy that, I'm sorry. Evidence backs claim pro-Bernie Seth Rich was a DNC leaker. WikiLeaks emails an inside job to get back at Hillary, evidence suggests. The arrows start pointing to Hillary again. Now, what have I been saying? Will Trump save himself with White House shakeup? President intends major shakeup to stop globalist agenda. Well, I keep coming back to, he's the one that put him there in the first place, most of them. Why is he doing this now? He should have just never put those people in place to begin with. Now, granted, some of them are holdovers from Obama, but not all of them. He could have come in and fired a lot of those people, and he chose not to for whatever reason. Louisiana Congressman Clay Higgins sends message to American patriots. Tell the world we're Americans and we'd rather die on our feet than live on our knees. That is so true. Peed off artist adds statue of urinating dog next to, quote, fearless girl. Sloppily crafted pooch takes direct aim at corporate-sponsored statue. Video, college students harass teacher, tell principal F you on No White People Day. Students demand to be excused from homework assignments to continue protesting. That's on campus reform. Economists plot to overthrow Trump risks civil war in America. Political class is emboldened after Macron victory. NSA leakers begin sign-ups for monthly leak subscription service. NSA leakers, known as the shadow brokers, will provide remaining documents. That's on the Hill. The great global battle for humanity is underway. Globalist sympathizers in Washington, D.C. are in a battle against pro-Trump patriots. Aide, President Trump has a magnetic personality and exudes positive energy. He has an unparalleled ability to communicate with people. That's on the Hill. I keep people awake at night. Mattis goes thug life on Deface the Nation. Mad Dog reveals he fears no one. Anti-American terrorist made Grand Marshal of New York City parade. I mentioned this one the other day. Puerto Rican Day parade in New York to honor terrorist. That's a John Bound report. Update, Kathy Griffin apologizes for beheading Trump in ISIS-inspired photo shoot. I don't know if you saw that, but it's quite sick. But not surprising. I guess she'll do anything to be taken seriously by the left and to be trending on Twitter or whatever other reason she had for doing it. Bitter, delusional Hillary Clinton says Trump will be impeached. Clinton still spewing anti-Trump rhetoric after brutal election defeat. Well, she is bitter and she is delusional. She's completely delusional. However, I do think she's right. I do think he will be impeached. That's my opinion, at least. And she'll do everything she can to make sure that happens. Ex-CIA agent says intel agencies behind the leaks to oust Trump. Leaks politically motivated blood sport to embarrass Trump. Trump gets tough on NATO, demands Europe pay up. James Comey exposed. Find out what led Trump to fire former FBI Director Comey. Seth Rich murder could expose Democratic Party corruption. I think we all already pretty much know that that's going on. The back channel deception. Mainstream media is completely twisting reality in an attempt to smear Trump. Anthropologist says white genocide is a good plan. Preventing right-wingers from having babies will entrench leftist power. How Donald Trump can save the American economy. Find out what Trump can do to create growth. Rock legend reveals roots of Trump anthem. World-renowned guitar player is proud to have his song used by President Trump. Changes in money supply don't cause business cycles. South Korean president shocked to find 4 unaccounted U.S. THAAD launchers in his country. 4 THAAD launchers mysteriously brought into the country. That's on RT. Trump calls for end to filibuster. Says it would help agenda pass fast and easy. That's on the Hill. Apple's neural engine chip for iPhone could revolutionize Apple's AI offering. And of course, if you look at your Apple logo on any of your Apple products, just take a look. It's a picture of an apple with a bite taken out of it, which of course means the Garden of Eden, which of course means ye shall be as gods. And that is the perfunctory lesson from Lucifer to all of humanity. Ye shall be as gods. Which means we're to put humanity and ourselves in Lucifer in God's place and ignore the one true real God. That's what Apple wants you to believe. I personally own zero Apple products. Snowden. Obama felt personally wounded by spy revelations. Former president thought he was king. I don't think he feels too personally wounded, if you ask me. Yeah, and again, Kathy Griffin holds Donald Trump's bloodied head in ISIS-like video. Savage, failing comedian. Tries to stay relevant. Yeah, that's what I said a little while ago. It seemed like she just did it to be trending on Twitter and have people talking about her again. I mean, where's she been? But I suppose there'll be the crazy leftists out there that will give her new jobs because of this ridiculous video she put out. They'll make sure she stays employed. Probably will fill up her bank account again, unfortunately. USAA backtracks, will resume advertisements on Hannity. I think that means if Hannity still exists, because it seems to me like he may get fired. House Intel Committee subpoenas Trump's personal attorney. Dems keep pushing Russian conspiracy theory. That's on Newsmax. From Dr. Mercola, surprise, everything you've been told about salt is wrong. Salt is a nutritional gold mine, provided you consume the right kind. Yes, and I don't think they're talking about the iodized salt in the little blue container that everybody has. That salt is only good for one thing, for throwing away. 5 key ways to protect yourself from skin cancer. Syrian refugee caught plotting suicide bombing in Germany. Another terrorist attack was thwarted by German police. Antibiotic resistance accelerating near pharmaceutical factories. Factory waste creating multi-drug resistant pathogens. That's by Dr. Mercola. In a video, Italian journalist attacked while documenting migrant camp. Only 110 out of the 1,440 migrants at camp officially registered, reports the Italian newspaper. That happens a lot where these reporters go into these migrant camps and get attacked, especially if they're women reporters. I mean, how idiotic would you be to be a woman reporter and go into a migrant camp? I mean, you are asking for trouble. New generation of bombs undetectable by airport scanners. What's the solution? Well, usually the solution means to crack down on more of our freedoms and enslave us even more. So that's what they'll do. 5 highly respected financial experts that are warning that a market crash is imminent. That's by Michael Snyder on the Common Sense Show with Dave Hodges. Here's more on that story I mentioned earlier. Shock. Texas Democrat rep threatens to kill Republican rep on legislative floor after he called ICE on illegal immigrants. That's on shtfplan.com again if you care to look. CNN host Fareed Zakaria destroys tolerant liberals. Freedom of speech and thought is not just for warm fuzzy ideas that we find comfortable. It's on shtfplan.com too. You pay far less than you should. This will change. Trump's extraordinary Merkel attack. We're heading for an ugly divorce. Ryanair chief warns of no flights between EU and UK. Fallen golf star Tiger Woods claims DUI arrest was because of an unexpected reaction to mix of prescription medications and says alcohol wasn't involved, as he apologizes to family and fans. ISIS targets children as 13 killed in horror attack on popular ice cream shop. That's on the Express. Italy threatens to destabilize entire EU. Markets panic amid threat of early election. North Korea boasts its latest test missile landed just 7 meters from its target as Kim promises a bigger gift package for the U.S. and claims South Korea and Trump are practicing dropping nuclear bombs. An X-22 report leakers identified continuation of Operation Clean House. Beard does not equal terrorist. Manchester attack leads to surge in hate crime. It's on Sputnik News. Exclusive Tiger Woods was asleep at the wheel and on 4 prescription drugs when he was arrested for DUI. Golf star told cops he didn't know where he was and failed 4 sobriety tests. Netflix documentary links John Podesta to pedophile ring. It's bankrupting us. Polish MP savages EU free movement over high migration to Britain. Finally too far? Unhinged black power students at Evergreen State College harass white professors and disrupt classes. It's on the Gateway Pundit. My guess is it's probably still not too far. At least not for the wacko leftists out there. Report leading UK Muslim group calls for Ramadan jihad against oppressive ruler with pics of Trump, Farage, and May. That's on the Gateway Pundit. Russia to have hypersonic jets faster than any anti-missile system by next year. That's on the Daily Star. Job killer. MIT robot can print a building in 14 hours. It's on Natural News. China and Australia, imminent collapse of housing market as massive fraud surfaces. It's on the dailycoin.org. UN slams Britain's Big Brother anti-terrorism strategy. That's on RT.com. Well, they must mean that Britain's not going far enough to create Big Brother because UN is all for Big Brother. Panama's former military dictator and CIA stooge, Manuel Noriega, dies at age 83 following surgery to remove a brain tumor. Majority of Swedes think media lies about the impact of mass migration. It's on Breitbart. MS-13 girl lured an 18-year-old man to a park with the promise of sex before 4 gang members stabbed him to death 153 times. ISIS teenage fighters are shooting people dead for failing to quote the Quran in besieged Philippine city, as Duterte's military warns jihadis to surrender or die. Well, with what I know about the Quran and Islam and Muslims, almost no Muslims, except imams, could quote the Quran at all, or the Sirah or the Hadith. From naturalnews.com, confirmed. Obama illegally spied on Americans. No one in the media calls for any investigation at all. That would be because the media would totally agree with anything Obama has done or did. Google and Facebook are super upset they may no longer be able to sell your internet data without permission. It's on the Daily Caller. Yeah, well, don't hold your breath on that one. North Korea latest. Seoul orders urgent probe into THAAD defense over rising World War III fears. Ritalin found to cause serious brain chemistry changes and an increase in risk-taking behaviors. The plot to overthrow Trump is very real. This is highly dangerous, for we can very well move towards civil war. That's on ArmstrongEconomics.com. Royal Air Force launched 25 airstrikes on ISIS this week after Manchester terror attack. That's on the Daily Star. Putin says Angela Merkel is planning a European Holocaust. Our government is being taken over from within. That's on Freedom Outpost. Russia calls House bill aimed at North Korea an act of war. Will the Senate block H.R. 1644? From Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show, what to expect when the deep state fully comes to power. Gun control is about the removal of all opposition. Make the populace defenseless. Blockbuster revelations from a very prominent American regarding the Seth Rich murder and who's behind it. Okay, I'll tell you, it's Hillary. Hillary and her cronies, like Podesta, they're behind it. Quote, I went too far. Kathy Griffin apologizes for posting a video of Trump's severed head on social media after Secret Service suggests she will be investigated for threatening the president. And for Michael Snyder of Into the American Dream, it doesn't have to be this way. President Duterte, which is of course the Philippines president, CIA wants to kill me for exposing ISIS as their creation. Philippines president says he is targeted by U.S. intelligence. That's on neonnettle.com. From the Daily Mail exclusive, one man is killed and more than 40 are treated for rabies after an outbreak of vampire bat attacks in Brazil. TV News Network boosts Seth Rich reward. Watch broadcasts featuring step-by-step report on why murder case remains suspicious. That's on WND. On ChristianTruther.com, are you ready? The North Korean crisis could soon blow up. Something is so different that this time the U.S. has sent not one, not two, but 3 different carriers to the region to deal with the supposedly impending crisis. From Skywatch TV, new video game to depict Christianity as incubator for extremism, threat to civilization. Alien artifact, we no longer need to ask for disclosure when religion and science is giving us confirmation. It's on concerneduspatriots.com. Bioethicist Wesley Smith warns a very real transhumanist nightmare. That's on Skywatch TV. Arch of Baal, erected for G7, is portal for Messiah or New World Order, warns a rabbi. That's on BreakingIsraelNews.com. In Antarctica, scientists are lured to a frozen desert. Sheltering mountains and dry winds from the continent preserve a frigid desert that defies all expectations. So yet more Antarctica stories. Antarctica and aliens and space. We're seeing all sorts of stories about those things. Oh yeah, and cannibalism. From ProphecyNewsWatch.com. The Christian exodus from the Middle East, threatened with discrimination, enslavement, and death at the hands of Islamic radicals, millions of families are forced to make a desperate choice to leave behind everything they know and seek safety in the West. And what did I just say about space? Mars Curiosity mission Gale crater discovery. Once harbored a lake with drinkable water, thus further expanding the window for when life might have existed on Mars. It's on dailygalaxy.com. America's silent crisis. Drinking water may become too expensive for millions of households in the future. It's on Natural News. From Zero Hedge, gold-backed currency launches in Dubai. It's a new currency known as 1 gram OGC, backed by 1 gram of gold and can be used for digital payments. CRISPR gene editing may cause hundreds of unintended mutations in DNA. That's on Futurism.com. Yeah, that's the whole point of using CRISPR. Okay, well that's all for today's Diamond Report. Thanks for listening and watching, for sharing, and for nice comments that you all have left me. I appreciate that very much. And the show is growing. I've had quite a few new viewers. You know, people saying that they like the show and then actually liking the page on Facebook and people sharing it on YouTube and so forth. So I do appreciate that, and I'll see you tomorrow.